welcome back to another episode of the Chat Fam. I'm Oya.
I'm Amiza.
And I'm Sam.
Hooray! If you guys haven't already, please subscribe and follow us on all our podcast channels. We're on Apple, Google, and Spotify. And please be sure to follow and subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah.
So how are we, guys? How is everyone feeling today? Tonight?
Yeah,
Today,
pretty good.
tonight,
Pretty
Channel
good.
7.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. What's her name? Carrie?
Carrie? Who's Carrie?
The chick who hosts it. Nancy. What's her name?
Nancy.
How do you know this shit, bro?
Oh, anyway. Let's move on.
Oh my God,
Yeah, let's fucking move on, man.
Oh, she's a current affair. That's who I'm thinking of.
Basic Grimshaw. That's
That's who I'm thinking
oh
of.
my god.
Oh my god, shout out.
Shout out.
Get us on, mate. Get us on a current affair.
Nah, it doesn't want to. Probably needs to investigate why we're so chat.
Yeah, exactly. So for today's episode, we thought it would be an interesting, interesting space to talk about Asian experience within Australia. So I kind of hijacked this idea from a YouTube channel called Jubilee. If you guys haven't heard about them, check them out because they actually put out really good content. But basically they gathered a bunch of Asian American public figures and they kind of just had dinner and just conversated about all these things. So unfortunately we can't gather and have dinner together, but we'll do it virtually. And they had just a bunch of questions that I basically stole off them. And I think this was made because of the back of a lot of the Asian hate crimes that were happening in the States. We'll go right into it. So the first question that they all asked each other was, what is an Asian stereotype that bothers you? Who wants to go first?
Have you got one, Mirza?
I don't think is that Asian stereotype when people say like you all look the same? Is that a stereotype?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate
So
that
I haven't really been getting that lately, but in the past, like people will assume that I'm Chinese or like we're all the same, but we're definitely all different. So that's a stereotype I got often in the past, but that's the one that kind of pops up in my head.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that too. That really bothers me as well. But just to be a little bit different, just like all Asians are like rich and smart. And like the reason why I get fed up with that is that everyone assumes when you see an Asian, they have it well off, their parents are rich, they got a good going on, but a lot of us are struggling as well. So it's just those assumptions that just tick me off sometimes as well. But not as much as the all look the same one, because that one when we get it at work is very annoying because we are all pretty much 90% of our employees are Asian. And when a customer says like, oh yeah, it was the Chinese one. And I'm like, no one's Chinese here. And then they'll literally say like, oh, I don't know, you all look the same anyway, like straight out to us. And we're like, bro, that's so racist. You can't just say that, People just need to be more educated.
Yeah. No, I honestly, that was actually the one that I had in mind as well. Like everyone just thinks we're all the same. We're all Chinese. I think that's our standard of Asian or, but I mean, I don't know. I guess it's good in Australia now that I feel like people are becoming more aware that, there's East Asian, there's Southeast Asian, there's also like Indians and like the Arab, region?
Middle East?
You know what I didn't know? That I feel really bad. Like, I think Egypt is technically part of Africa as well, right? Like Africa actually is a large continent. So I assume that they would kind of deal with the same things that we do as well in terms of like.
It's like saying Lebanese, all Lebanese people are all Muslim, but there's a majority, like there's a large like group that are Christian as well.
Yeah.
So. 100%. And even people like now, like people really don't know that majority of Indonesians are Muslims as well. People think we're like Hindu or like even Christian as well. So it's just like when people say, "Oh, we're Muslims," like, wait, what?
Yeah.
but you're Asian. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's like an interesting observation that I kind of just popped into my head? I remember before when my mum wasn't wearing a hijab, everyone just immediately assumed she was Chinese. And as soon as she started wearing one, people started immediately assuming she was like, what's the, is it Kazakhstan or like one of those, the Arab people who look kind of Asian.
Yeah.
So I was just like, it's so funny how she jumped from that to that just because she started wearing a scarf. But yeah, interesting. Anyway, off the back of that question, and this one wasn't actually in that video, but can you guys think of any like media portrayals of Asians that you liked or disliked? Because like as being media students, I feel like we know that media plays a huge role in influencing how the world sees different races and ethnicities and whatever. But yeah, can you guys think of any off the top of your head that like of an Asian character that you liked or thought was like the worst representation for Asians ever?
It's not really the worst representation, but Jackie Chan. I don't know. Like, no. It's like, I don't know. Like, people think that we're all great fighters. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to get at. But like, all you see in movies, like, is like Asian actors or actress playing as a martial artist, like a person who's like a fighter. I'm just like, I feel like, even like a nerd.
Yeah,
like,
it's always a nerd. I was gonna say, like, it's always the Asian. Like, there's hardly any movies that are like multicultural casts where an Asian is the main character. It's always a side character who knows how to hack a computer or something like that. Like, it's just like, what the fuck, bro?
Or who's always studying, or like, I don't know.
Yeah. But you know what movie really, really like digs deep into like all the Asian expectations and stuff like that is have you guys watched what is it called? Rich Crazy Asians? Crazy
Rich Asians?
Yeah. Rich Crazy Asians.
I actually haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it?
You haven't seen it?
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Well, I know the plot of the story is like they're all rich. It's like a rich family, and then I think
they're all crazy.
Basically.
They are. They like, it just goes into how, like, not only like the views and perspectives of people have on Asians, but also Asians have on them on each other as well. It's just like, wow, this is so real. This is like exactly how like sometimes the Indonesian community can be as well. For those of you that haven't watched that movie, you should watch it and learn a little bit more about us.
The one that I thought of, have you guys, and this is like an interesting one because it's an Australian representation, Neighbours, back in the day when I was obsessed with it, there was this girl who came on it. Her name was Sunny, and she was like supposed to be an exchange student. Do you guys remember?
I think I have like a slight flashback of this.
If you can, Sam, like, find a photo and like chuck her on, because I remember she was like the first Asian person I saw on like Aussie telly, and I was like, oh my God, who is she? But yeah, it was funny because she had to come on the show as an exchange student. So that says all in itself as well. And then another character though who I thought was like badass, like Han. I love him from Fast and the Furious franchise. He's a good one, as in like, you know, he's like the cool, because like what you said, most Asian guys is particularly either like karate or nerdy. But he was like, you kind of rooted for his character. He was
that's true. I never thought of it that way.
And then like I remember actually having this conversation with my brother not long ago, but I was asking him about like just Indonesian representation, at least in Australia, and the only one we could think of was bloody Ketut.
Ketut, oh my God, the amount of times people would come up to me in high school and be like, what was it again? Like
like a sun,
like a sunrise or something like that. And I'm like, what?
Rhonda. Yeah. So that's the only one.
Everyone think of us like Indonesians, like Bali.
Yeah.
The main island, like Java or Sumatra. So
yeah. Gladio. All right.
You know what comes up in my mind? Like, even though she's not really Indonesian, but Jessica Mauboy. It's a bit random, but
that's true. Yeah, she was a bit of like someone that we could all be like, yay, finally, someone who's Indo. Yeah, that's true.
But then again, a lot of people know that she's half Indo anyway.
But we're saying like she was like a shining light for Indos.
Yeah, that's true.
In Australia. Yeah.
That's true. But then again, I was saying like a lot of people, even Australian people, don't know that she's part Indo.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah. True.
So it's kind of like, they
think like she's half Aboriginal. Not half Aboriginal. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. So that's what people more so know her.
Yeah.
Like her background as being that. Yeah.
And a fun fact, she was on Indonesian Idol.
We talked about this once, and we started singing her song.
Oh my god!
So search it up on YouTube. Jessica Mauboy Indonesian Idol, and she actually starts singing Bahasa. So
wow, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, so search it up.
Search it up, guys. Yeah. All right. So next question. This one was actually raised. Do you guys know who Hassan Minaj is?
No, sorry.
Really? Oh, okay. Well, he was on it, and he's a comedian, and he's also Muzzy. But he asked everyone a question that was, who has the best food? Which was like funny because it was just like everyone was like trying to defend their own cuisine. What do you guys reckon is the best Asian cuisine? That's so hard.
For me, it's between Thai or Japanese.
That's a good contender.
Yeah.
My one's between Korean and Japanese. I just love Korean food. Like, I don't know, it's a type of food where you can get, I think it's more of the vibes that it gives. Like, when you think Korean food, you always think, having a drink with like mates, like heaps of people coming together and having fun and stuff like that. Whereas with Japanese food, like, oh my god, it's so good. I don't know, I can't choose.
I'm very upset that none of you said Indo.
Said Indonesian?
Yeah. Because honestly, if I was to give a top 3, I think I would do, and this is probably very biased, but I would do Indo and then probably Thai and then probably Jap. Like what? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just like, I think for me, it's the reason why I say that is because I can't, like, even when we get together, the three of us, like, when do we ever go out and say, hey, let's go to an Indonesian restaurant? I think it's the fact that we can't eat out eat out and eat like Indonesian food because there's not many options for Indonesian cuisine here in Sydney. I think that might be part of the problem, because what right now is trending here is like Korean food, and I think it's Korean food that's going on right now.
But then again, why would you want to eat out and eat the same food that you eat at home?
It's a different vibe though. Like, what I mean, like, when I go to Indonesia and I eat food out, that is like the best experience. Like, nothing tops that. I don't know. I can't really explain it properly, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Same.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, you just want authentic Indo food.
Yeah. Like, if I can go out with my friends and sit on the floor and eat like a fish that was just fished, like, 2 hours ago, and like that's been just on the grill and put like freaking ketchup mayonnaise on it, and like have and pay freaking $10 per person. Like, that's the life. Like, that's what Indonesian food is. But I can't really say that right now because the Indonesian food that I eat here is either from home or that cost heaps when we have to go all the way to bloody Kensington to get a bite of good Indonesian food. So yeah, there's a little bit of disconnection there for me. And especially since COVID, I haven't been able to go back and eat Indo food. Oh my god, it's making me miss it so much.
Don't you miss it? But see, I based my preference on what I eat in Indo, because as much as I love my mum's food, it's like different when you eat in Indo. Right?
Exactly.
So yeah, definitely can go off your point. But what about in terms of like drink specifically? Can you, because it was funny on that thing, most of them only said boba, like so bubble tea, right? Because we don't, there's nothing really else that tops it for me.
You know what? Boba's great, but I sit there sometimes and I'm like, man, if I could get my hands on an authentic es jeruk or an es teh manis, or like, oh man, like that I crave. And even just the way when you sit at a restaurant, or not even just a restaurant, at the side of the street, and you order like an es kelapa manis, like muda, oh my god, like that tops it off. That's, man, I want to eat at Indo.
I think for me, like I do miss my like avocado or durian drinks. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I get that sometimes. Yeah, but mainly it's the es teh manis or the es jeruk. So good.
I rate chendol as well.
Oh yeah, so, chendol.
Yeah. Point blank here is Indo actually has underrated drinks, guys. So be sure to check some out.
You really should just like explore. Like, it's not going to be the most authentic, but like if you go to like on Anzac Parade, that strip there, you'll find some good Indonesian food.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
True. All right. Let's move on to the next question. So the next one is, when you were younger, was there a moment you didn't feel accepted, and what did it take to overcome that? Bit of a heavy one, mate.
I can think of something specific. When I was in high school, my high school mainly had Middle Eastern, Turkish people, and then you have like some of the Fijian, Indian, Pakistani, Bengali people as well. I was literally the only Asian growing up in high school, and that definitely had like a disconnected feeling, even with my friends. Like, I remember I didn't really feel like I integrated in my group of friends until senior high school. And the main reason was I was very introverted. So I wasn't always extroverted, especially in high school. I was very, very introverted. I hardly socialized with everyone. And that was mainly because I felt that low confidence, being the only Asian growing up in high school as well. And it wasn't until I started to, come out of my shell a little bit more and be more involved in like social events, and not even just that, just talking with everyone in like my year in high school. That's when I really started to open up and people started to notice me. So I think I just had to overcome it and be like, you know what, I need to do something with myself. But at the same time, it shouldn't have gotten to that stage. Because everyone would always see me as the Asian person in high school. They'll be like, oh yeah, the chick with the really long hair, the Asian chick. Or like, I even get some people coming up to me with Chinese writing and be like, Sam, do you understand this? I'm like, no, I'm not Chinese. Like, the fuck.
Yeah.
I've actually had that experience before, and I'll just look at them and be like, how do you not know what I am, and how do you think to just assume, But yeah, it just proves that so many people are not educating their children about like different cultures, which is a bit like concerning as well. I don't know. But if I was in a more multicultural environment, it would have been a bit easier for me to come out a bit more.
Yeah. 100%. What about you, Miz?
I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but I feel like back in high school, like there's a one point where I like two group of friends. So you got the Asians only, and then you got your multicultural group. And I, for some reason, I don't know why, but I didn't really fit in with my Asian group, just because I was more of a person who really liked discovering other cultures and getting to know other people instead of speaking with the same people. And I feel like with my Asian friends, they didn't really understand that. So I fit in more with my multicultural friends than my Asian group. Even though like I still talk to them to this day, it's just like Yeah, I'm a person who, if you guys already know me, I'm a person who likes to go out there and explore other cultures and get to know them. And that's just me personally.
Yeah, that's definitely you though.
Yeah.
So are you saying like they kind of only wanted to just hang out with each other and anyone who was Asian as well? Like they didn't really, oh, interesting.
It's like even though, like, they do have other friends besides Asian, but it was just, when it's just lunch or recess, it was just them and them only.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, like for me, I feel like my experience was very similar to Sam. In high school was mostly all my friends were white, and like white Australian as well. As in, do you know what I mean? Like as in not so yeah, sometimes it was very easy for me to not really felt like I fit in. But I think in overcoming that, I don't know, like I feel like as we got older as well in high school, my friends just were more curious about my Indonesian side, so that definitely helped. Like they would ask me questions, like, you know, and language and stuff, and just like, I don't know, I think for me just recognizing that I was different was okay as well. It's just like it wasn't a big deal, as in like if anything it makes you like more cool because you know you're a bit but like just like reinforcing that in your head and being like, no, it's okay to be different to everyone else. But yeah, it took me a while to get there though. Like that definitely happened, I want to say like senior, whereas before then I was just trying to do whatever I could to fit in, you know. But yeah, anyway, let's go to the next question.
I was gonna say, it's like that subject in 11 and 12, belonging.
Yeah,
oh,
isn't that ironic? That's so ironic.
Freaking hell, man. I have to bring up high school English again.
Did you do belonging as well, Sam?
Yeah, we did belonging. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think everyone did
belonging.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though? After high school, especially in uni, I realized how grouped up Asian people are. Like the way they cluster together.
Yeah.
I don't know for anyone in the audience who's been to UNSW. Oh, not really only UNSW, but like any other uni. Every uni, but the Asians only clump together from the specific country that they're from, which is really funny. Because like they'll speak English, but then it's only just the Koreans, or it's only just the Chinese, or it's only just the Vietnamese people. But not only that, when I was introduced to my friends, a mate of mine who was at the same uni as me, she'd be like, oh, meet my friends, my Optom friends, for example. And I meet them and they're all Asian and they just have this different feel, like this different vibe. I don't know if it's because I grew up in Liverpool or if it's because I grew up with, I don't know, from the people that I was from in high school, but it felt like they were from a completely different world and I could never fit in. And I feel like that every day, because I'll meet, obviously working at an optometrist, I would meet people who are still in uni and still studying optometry, and they all have that same vibe. They all have that same personality.
And that was my point, where with my experience in high school, like I didn't really fit in with that Asian group, because it's like I was completely different compared to them, where they were all kind of the same, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Compared to my other group, where they were all individually have a different personality and very different from each other, which I liked.
Yeah.
So just like I can't really connect with them, where they're all like have the same interest.
I've actually learned to, because I'm now friends with these people I was talking about, and it's like it feels weird. It feels like ever since I started knowing them, they're always like, "Oh, you're not really a real Asian, are you?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they just get that vibe from me too. I think their perspective on me is like, this chick never grew up as a true Asian of Sydney, of Australia. Like they don't know what it's like to be like a Cabramatta person, or someone who has lived in Fairfield. And they're always teaching me new things. Like I've learned about boba from them. I learned about Korean cuisine from them, and I learned how Cabramatta works and what it's like to walk down John Street and shit like that, and all the little nooks and crannies on what's the best banh mi to have from here and stuff like that. Like I've learned like a different culture from them, which is so weird because like it's just it's so weird. Like I feel like I've never been a true Asian. I don't know. It's like a different Asian feel in Sydney.
So on that point, do you guys realize that I feel like us Indonesians are kind of different breeds? Because in Sydney, like you don't see them clustered anywhere. Like, can you name it besides like maybe Kensington, maybe, but besides anywhere else, can you mention like a big cluster of Indonesians?
Nah, man.
Like Cabramatta or Bankstown or like,
we're kind of scattered everywhere.
We're kind of scattered.
Yeah.
Like I when I see the Indonesians in like Kensington, it's mainly it's not people that were born here.
Yeah.
I feel like the Indonesians that were born here had to kind of like low-key fight for their belonging here, and that's how they integrated into different cultures and different like groups, whereas like a lot of other Asians here, like the Vietnamese and the Chinese, they found each other, they found their communities, and that's how they knew how to like, you know, grow up together and keep that culture. But with us, I feel like especially the first generations Indonesians here, we kind of struggled to keep our culture and keep it alive here, and that's why a lot of the times it's very rare to see a first generation living here keep like, you know, the Bahasa language or stuff like that, whereas compared to other Asian first generations here, they know how to speak it fluently. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I think we just don't have a large enough community, or
we do have a community. It's just like we're not
connected.
Type of community where we center around a certain town, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's no Indonesian town here in Sydney.
Yeah.
which is we
weird. Need an Indo town.
We need let's overtake liver. Yeah. Oh my god.
That'd be good. Okay, let's move on. So this question actually kind of relates to the episode we did with Sam's mate Dayan. So we touched on a little bit, but I thought we could maybe go into it a little bit deeper. So the question is, why do you think there is a mental health stigma, and how can we break it within the Asian community? This is a heavy one again.
I was gonna say, like as previous episode, like it's like our parents saying, just move on, just continue, like you'll get over it. Like that's not how you deal with problems or mental health. It's just like you need to acknowledge what's happening, I guess, on that, like during that time and that point of day. Like like there's times where I feel like because our parents grew up differently compared to us. Like I understand, like our parents grew up more like they would grow up when they were growing up in high school. Like they were so strict. Like if you had your nails long, they get it like a slap. That's like a story that my mum told me. Like there was a time where she had her nails long. She got the teacher got a ruler and they start smacking her in the back, like something like that. And that's how they grew up. And compared to us, fortunately, like we have mental health issues here, and they think like, hey, just like grew up differently. You should grow up the same way as like we did. Like just get over it. And it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just that's from my perspective.
Yeah, definitely along the lines of what you were saying, Mirza. I think there's an emotional disconnect with the generations before. And my mum would always say all the time as well, it's the same thing. They'd whip out a ruler and they'd beat you. And I think growing up like that kind of just got rid of that emotional side. And they kind of just, threw it aside. It's like, no emotions. We just need to get things done. We need to survive. We need to study, stuff like that. So bringing it over here, you expect your children to feel the same way. But because Australia is a much different culture, we're all more, as I said again, like democratic, where we listen to each other. It's more emotionally, people are more emotionally available here. We're talking about our feelings more here. So our parents don't really understand that, and I can't really blame them for not being able to recognize it. And it's something that it's very hard to break that barrier, because it's kind of like coded. It's like coded in their brain, like computer code. So how do we change that? The only thing we could do is just, be honest with them and tell them the truth, and be like, because I used to hide about it a lot more from my parents, but that just made things worse, because then they thought I was doing other stuff. Like, it would be like, Samara, are you doing drugs and blah blah blah. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not. I'm just depressed. And they never understood it until I sat down and talked to them about it. And I'm like, look, this is a real deal. It's like mental illness is real. But they also tried to blame it on themselves, and they're like, oh, is it us? It's like we're not parenting right. It's something that we did wrong. And I'm like, honestly, no. Like, you just need to understand that mental illness can come from anywhere. It can be from any source. It's not just about parenting. Like, you need to understand that now, especially since we're growing into, like, teenagers, young adults. Our feelings change, and we start to deal with our own problems. So, and they never had to deal with that, because, like our mother said, when they lived in Indonesia, it was all about family. So, but with us, we're more independent here, and we face our own problems. So I think that exposure kind of promotes mental illness a bit more here. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, like I don't want to repeat anything that you guys just said, because I definitely agree with everything that you guys said. And I think the reason it's so stigmatized as well is just what we were saying in that last episode as well. It's because of that tough love mentality, or that way that we've been brought up, the way that they've been brought up, and it just carries on. So they never, like, I know in my household, I don't think I've never had an open conversation about mental health with my parents, or they've never really brought it up in conversation either. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. Like, I can't imagine someone that we know, or like our own selves, going to therapy. Like, that would be like huge. Like, there must be something really wrong, if you know what I mean. Like, it would be seen that way if someone was to go to therapy or seek help.
What's funny, like, a couple years ago, I actually got paperwork, and I was getting ready to see one, but I didn't actually go through with it, because when my mum found the documents, she was so heartbroken, because she thought it was all her fault. Like, oh, what did I do to make you come to this decision? And I had to tell her, like, it's nothing about you. Like what I said before, like, it's just, we have our own problems. And this is the deal, like, mental illness is real. Like, you need to understand that sometimes, like, it's not just me that can go through that. Like, Nadia could have gotten through that. Nia's probably going through that. You just need to learn to, we kind of made the deal, like, we need to be more open with each other, and we need to be more honest and actually talk about it, because it's a problem when your parents should be the people, your support, and they should be, but there shouldn't be a barrier. And I think that's the problem with not just Indonesians, but any Asian culture. It's like there's that barrier between child and parents, and they can't talk about emotional things, because it's not accepted, if that makes sense. Like, it's not like they find it weird, and it's like, why are you talking to me about feelings? I don't know. It's so weird that we don't have that. Where, like, I hear stories about my friends and how they talk to their mothers about everything, and I'm like, ew, you guys talk about that? And then they say I love you to each other. Like, what? What does I love you mean?
What world are you from?
I know, right? And then when I get the love from their mums, it's like, oh, is this what it feels like to be, like, hugged and cuddled, and, like, asked how your day is going? It's funny.
But sad.
It's sad but funny. I told my mum, I joke about it with my mum. It's like, look, my blah blah blah's mum did this to me today, why don't you do that to me? And she doesn't give a shit.
Just like, auntie.
Bloody Itsy.
Oh, Itsy, get lit. Anyway. Yeah. All right. Next question. As a child, I culturally identified as blank because blank.
What?
I might go first.
Okay.
So as a kid, well, I don't want to say as a kid. I want to say when I remembered or understood what culture was. I think I identified as Australian because I don't know, as in like I knew I was Indonesian, like my parents Indonesian and I look like this. I'm obviously of Asian background, but yeah, no, I feel like I would say I was Australian. You know what I mean? Because like, and I think we've had this conversation as well, like in previous episodes, but we grew up here, we were raised here. Our mentality is very much so westernized. Like for sure, we do have tones of, you know, our Indonesian culture and values within us, but for the most part, yeah, I feel like I identified more as Australian. But yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
I would say the same. Like I would identify myself Australian, but what was the sentence again? I culturally.
It was as a child. I culturally identified as blank because blank.
Culturally, well, the word culture. If you said identified, I would say identify myself as Australian, but culturally, I would say Indonesian because my background's Indonesian. I was raised in an Indonesian family. Like, yeah, like that's what I would like. That's what I would say. Because I grew up with Indonesian food. My grandparents were Indonesian, cousins as well. But if you said like I identify as Australian, then that's completely different. Like I was born here, and I was taught differently compared to my parents. Where in high school, like I was taught the Australian way, the Australian anthem. Just yeah, that's what I would say.
I don't know. I kind of don't know what to like. I'm trying to think back. I mean, I guess when I grew up in my primary school, we were a much more multicultural school compared to high school. I think it wasn't till high school that I was more culturally aware of, okay, my background is Indonesian, and you know, I can't really answer that question because I never really thought about it. Maybe I was just more of a kid that just didn't really care and just like running around and, you know, doing a thing. But
if someone was to ask you now, what would you answer?
Now I would be I'd be Australian. But I will never just say just Australian if someone asks me. I'd always have to say like I'm Australian. I'm an Indonesian background.
But Indonesian.
I'd always have to add that.
I would usually say Australian-born Indonesian. That's what I would say if anyone asks me, because everyone's like, "Oh, what's your background?" I was like, "Indonesian, but born in Australia." Like, I don't want them to assume I was born in Indonesia.
Yeah.
True.
This is who we are, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't really think back on what I did identify myself as. I think I just wasn't there. My mind wasn't there yet. I sound so dumb.
Yeah, I know. It took a while for my mental to develop.
I always knew, like now being, you know, grown up, I always knew before, like I was never really educated with anything. I was just, I don't know if it was like my parents not telling me or I was just around people that just didn't want to tell me. And like, I was just lost in everything, like culture, racism, I don't know, LGBTQ community. Like I was just lost. It wasn't until I went out of high school and I started to learn more about the world. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I would say so myself. Like I was very ignorant. I was very uneducated, and I had assumptions and about different cultures and different religions, and like I'm ashamed of that. But at least now, like I had to, it took a lot of years of me learning myself but not just that, but meeting the right friends to tell me, hey Sam, how do you not know about this? Like, you need to learn more about it. And I was actually like, I would actively learn about things more. And now, like, I just, man, thank goodness I'm a lot more open-minded now. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Good on you, Sam.
Yeah. Like, even on this topic, like this topic about Asian stereotypes, if you asked me about it 5 years ago, I'd be like, what are you talking about? It's not a problem. Like, there's no problems here. Like, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
Kind of like being oblivious to it and just being
I
like,
think that's what I was like. I was a very oblivious child.
Yeah.
So yeah, what a chat rat. Hey.
Some things never change, mate.
Oh, mate, you got me there. You got me there, mate. Fucking shame.
Next question. How do you and your family express love to each other? The very important Asian question.
I think this is for every Asian child. It's like,
I punch.
You punch. Wow.
I love you.
You know what's funny though? Like, you say there's a lot of Asian stereotypes. I feel like this is the one that's like very true.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm being very racist, but it is. It's true with any Asian culture, no matter what country you're from. You just can't say I love you to your child. It's just not. It doesn't feel right, you know.
It doesn't come out. It's like
it doesn't come out.
Just say you love I.
Oh my god.
Love you, I love are you.
And it does come back to like the emotional disconnect. It all comes down to that for sure. But like, for example, with my sister Nadia, like, she constantly says I love you to Shanti. Shanti says the same to her. I think it'll be different when we have our own families as well, and when we have children, because we didn't grow up in an Asian environment. We grew up in an Australian environment. So the way we express our love, I don't know, my mum cooks for me, my dad fixes things for me, he teaches me shit, and I get things done in the house. That's it. There's no words, exchange. It's just all in action.
You know what's another way to express love? Money.
Yeah,
that's
money.
a good one. That's a good one.
That is a really good one. That's a very good one. Yeah. If I shout out my family, that's a big one.
Yeah,
that's true. Especially to your parents, obviously, right? Like, given,
for sure.
But no, like, one that was raised that I thought was a pretty good one is like, especially between parent and child, is when you're sick. Like, you can really tell your parents love you when you're sick.
Yes. That's me for the past week. My mom will be like, "Egg, gagal air garam."
Yeah.
Always.
They just,
which is
the food they bring up to you, always checking up on you. Yeah, offering home remedies.
Exactly. Sometimes I don't even tell them that I'm sick, because I know that they'll bombard me with, like, I can't have privacy in my room. If I'm sick and they know, every hour they'll come in, Samara, how are you feeling? Samara, do you want this? Samara, do you want that? I'm like, can you leave me alone? I need to sleep. But my mom will always come in with, like, she made me drink this. Oh my God. It tasted like drinking Tiger Balm. It was so strong. Like, I went to smell it and it was like I got knocked out for 5 seconds because it was so strong. But yeah, they just come up with these remedies. And then, like, what was my dad saying today? I think it was, I don't know, I forgot. My dad was like saying something about me being sick as well. But like, everyone's involved. Everyone. Yeah. Everyone knows you're sick. My uncle come over, he knows I'm sick because my parents have told him. Like, yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, big ordeal. All right. So last question. This is one that I added, but what do people often mistaken you as? Because I feel like this is a good one to ask, especially within Australia.
I get it all the time. I always get Filipino.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I always get Filipino, if not Samoan.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. You know what people at work call me? They call me Moana when I have my long hair. I'm Moana.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's funny because most people at my work are all Asian. So they classify me as like a different type of Asian. So I'm Moana. that I always get those two. They never get Indonesia.
Never.
Yeah.
What about you, Ms?
Chinese. So
All the time?
all the time.
Wow.
All
See,
the
I never
time.
get Chinese.
Yeah, Chinese.
Really?
Yeah, I never get Chinese.
Yeah, I actually get both of what you. I either get philo or I get Chinese.
Correct.
Yeah, I get one of each.
Interesting. You know, I think for me, I don't get Chinese because I'm very tall in real life. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like,
but then Yao Ming, he's tall.
No. Whoa. What the hell?
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but he's like a 1 in a million, Oya.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if you see my face. I don't really look Chinese, do I?
Yeah.
I need to get Chinese. Yeah. I think it might be because of my darker skin as well. That they'll guess otherwise.
Yeah. True.
I don't get why I get Chinese because I'm a bit brown, so I just don't get it.
Sometimes you're not though. If you're not tan,
Yeah,
if it's like
true.
winter, you're quite
In winter,
tan.
he's Chinese.
Yeah. yeah.
In summer, he's philo.
In summer he's a tanned Chinese.
But then again, if they don't get Chinese, sometimes I get Malaysian. They don't even say anything.
I would say Malaysian more. You look like more of like, because I work with a couple of Malaysians and they kind of have the same vibe as you, really. Yeah. The tallness, the glasses. Yeah.
Oh, should be a Malaysian then.
And it's like, is it between Malaysia or Chinese? Like, like Filipino or Chinese? And you put it together, okay, Malaysia.
Malay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Malayu. All right, let's end it with Indo word of the day. Mirza, do you have anything for us? Sorry.
Oh wait, I do have one.
Okay.
Very random, but it is stereotype.
Oh Jesus!
Oh my god,
hell,
Sam,
man.
can you look it up?
Oh my god, I'm gonna try. Jeez.
I'm curious.
I'm giving you guys
words.
He give us really hard words. What's wrong with you?
It's gonna be like stereotype.
I know. Next one is gonna be onomatopoeia.
Oh my god, it actually is. It's stereotype.
Really? Play it.
Stereotype. Wait. Oh, you can't hear it from here though.
No, we can't hear it.
Yeah.
Can you share your sound?
Oh shit. Oh.
Astaga.
No. He picked up my voice and he said, I need to show you. Oh, you disabled my screen share. But it picked up my voice and it said it said, oh shit. And then it translated it to Astaga.
Maybe our word should be Astaga.
Wait.
You can share a screen if you want.
Oh, come on. Now it's not doing it anymore. Stereotype. Did you guys hear Astaga?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Stereotype.
Ew.
Yeah, it's chat,
Stereotype.
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 Or cliché.
Stereo. Huh?
Or cliché.
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 Ew.
That's
What
chat,
are these
bro.
words? All right, there you go, Mirza. Freaking stereotype or cliché. Okay. Freaking out, mate. All right.
Cliché is like the cliche, right?
Oh, cliche.
Yeah, that's how they say cliche.
Oh, cliché.
Cliché.
All right. Good on ya.
Right.
Good on you, Indo.
I will use that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Stereotype.
Play it tomorrow.
Wow.
All right. Thanks so much, guys, for listening in on this episode. Again, be sure to subscribe, follow, like, YouTube, Google, podcast, Spotify, Apple, Instagram. Yeah! I'm Oya.
I'm Mirza.
And I'm Sam.
Ade.
Ta-da.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Ta-da.